What's going on, YouTube family and friends? Welcome back to the channel, and what we came to discuss here in today's video is no other than KULR, what to expect here on tomorrow's trading. It is very crucial that we do not drop below this mid Bollinger Band here tomorrow, which is currently sitting here at $2.71. Stick around, I'm going to give you my insight and thoughts on that. Also, we're going to take a brief look and check out ACHR and discuss the possibility of a upcoming gamma squeeze, which can potentially happen here in ACHR on the date of January 17th, just looking at the options chain. Stick around, I'm going to explain to you guys even more what I'm talking about. But before I do so, don't forget to smash that like button on your way in. It really does help the channel grow. In fact, we're trying to get this thing to 300 likes here in today's video, so with the help of you guys we can easily achieve that. Now, first off, we're going to talk about here in today's video is KULR. As you all know, this thing has been facing major retracement since that $5.49 peak that we hit here on December 27th. If we take a brief look and check out the interval stats, the stock has retraced over 42%, ladies and gentlemen, just in the last 8 days of trading. Now, the reason why tomorrow is going to be very crucial, because as you guys can see here, we did bounce off that mid Bollinger Band. That is a great sign for a turnaround. But the reason why tomorrow is so important is because if we continue to see this downwards pressure and break through this mid Bollinger Band here tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, then we may actually approach those $2.15 levels here before the week is over with. Now, that may cause even a furtherance of a sell-off. If we take a brief look and just check out the capital trend, we do see that net outflow in favorment, but backed by that short sell analysis, not a huge total short volume, thanks to the low trading volume that KULR has seen so far this week. 27 in total trading volume, 27 million, sorry about that. Coming off of earlier this week seeing 47 million, last week 48, the day before that 50, 48, 41. As you guys can see here, the volume has dropped drastically, and anytime that you see a drop in share price, almost over half a drop in share price, ladies and gentlemen, you tend to actually see a volume uptick. Now, that isn't the case here in KULR, and anytime that something like that happens, it tends to actually point to a furtherance of the retracement that we're currently in. We take a brief look and just check out the capital trend here and look at our PCD. We currently see a degree overlap of 70% and a profit ratio of only 64.6%. Now, the profit ratio is great, but the degree overlap is in a early warning stage. So with that being said, tomorrow is a day that you do want to keep your eyes out on KULR's price action, because if we do see the share price slip, ladies and gentlemen, I do feel as though that this thing is going to make yet another leg down. But the chances of a turnaround here is also in the atmosphere, thanks to that mid Bollinger Band bounce here on the 15-minute chart. We are under that mid here, which points to down, even further downwards pressure here on the 15-minute chart. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it isn't looking great for KULR here currently. I want to know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you believe that this stock has a very great chance to retest those $3 levels here on Friday's trading? Sorry about that. Today is Thursday. Last but not least, we're going to talk about ACHR and its options chain and the possibility of a short cover taking place here next week. Now, as you all know, this is something that we have been talking about since November here in ACHR. It's been quite some time. We were talking about this since the beginning of November, about the likelihood of a ACHR gamma squeeze taking place due to the heavy open interest that is currently in the options chain. At the time, those options were out the money. Currently now, they are in the money and the delta is rising. And what the delta means, ladies and gentlemen, basically, currently here, they will have to cover 42% of the open interest on that strike price. All right, so if we take a brief look and check out the 117, for instance, as you all know, this is 62,000 in open interest. Each contract holds 100, right? So with that being said, we're talking about 6.2 million shares here at the $8 strike, but that delta is currently at 90.97, which means they have already, if not towards expiration, if not, they already have covered 97% of the 62,000 contracts that is currently in the open interest that is in the money. Now, the reason why that they have to do that, ladies and gentlemen, is because people like you and I that bought these contracts has the right to buy the shares outright, and market makers that sold these contracts has a responsibility to cover those shares. So what they actually do is go and buy them ahead of time just in case those contracts are being executed. If not, they do keep those shares that they bought ahead of time if they do fall out of the money. But in ACHR's situation, if we go back to, we want to look at that $14 strike. Now, this is very important, ladies and gentlemen. No, it's the $12 strike. The $12 strike is very, very important. Right now, we see a very low delta of only 28.28, right? 28% of the open interest here in that $12 strike is currently covered here, meaning they already bought 28% of this contract here just in case, right? Even though that we're out the money right now, that basically just means that that 28% that they currently hold, they can either sell that if this thing actually expires out of the money, or they can hold those shares still if they believe that it's going to be a further demand for the shares later. Thus, they basically have a pool of shares which is already covering majority of this open interest. But that isn't the case in this situation due to the fact that this thing actually started here in November. Only time that a market maker tends to have a ton of shares on hand is once you see a long span of demand, like we see in GME, AMC. As you all know, that thing has had a huge retail investor interest for quite some time. So market makers are still probably holding on shares that they bought here, that they covered here in open interest from months ago, all right, that actually didn't expire in the money. So what they do is they just hold those things just for a later date, or they can actually sell it in the open market and actually put even further downwards pressure here on the share price. But in the case in ACHR, ladies and gentlemen, what we actually want to see take place is the share price hold above those $12 levels. In fact, if we can actually jump above those $12 levels here before Monday, that's going to put even further pressure on this $12 strike. Now, the closer we get towards the expiration and the further we are above this $12 strike, the bigger the delta effect is going to be. So with that being said, we're currently here at $10.50. Let's say the share price jumps above $11 here on Monday. Well, in that case, ladies and gentlemen, the $11 strike, what currently has a 5.67 thousand in open interest, we're going to see that delta rise drastically. Even though that we're out the money on the $11 strike, we are pretty close, and that is why we see a 4.42 on the delta, even though that is out of the money, because market makers want to be delta neutral. They always want to cover themselves just in case a unexpected rise in price happens. So that is why they have to actually cover portions of that open interest, even though that it is out of the money. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the gamma squeeze here in ACHR is looking quite possible to unfold here. But the only way that's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, is if we can stay above those $12 levels. And the further we go, the more strike prices that we cover, ultimately pitting the gamma squeeze situation in a better possibility of happening. I do feel as though that if the gamma squeeze does take place here in ACHR next week, the stock can actually see share prices as high as $18. But if we actually do fall below $9 levels, ladies and gentlemen, then the gamma squeeze situation here in ACHR drops to 0. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, don't forget to smash that like button, and may the gains be with you.